Amen is the newest project. He don't want to call it an album, he wants to call it a project, which makes things really awkward for me. Like, do I call it a project review, a mixtape review? Nah, I don't know. It's a collection of songs that he is labeling a project because I guess he said like an album is something with like a concept, like a theme, and this is not that. It's just like a loose collection of 14, Rich Brian songs just lined up in an album format for us to consume on streaming services and whatnot. It's called Amen, and it's his debut thing. And in my opinion, I thought it was pretty fine. Yeah, fuck you for interrupting. Like, I remember when I first discovered him, when he first came on the scene with Dat Stick, I was like, okay, yeah, this dude is kind of cool. He has like a deep voice, he's really young, he's kind of funny. He has like a comedic edge to him, and he dropped Who Dat Be, and then he dropped 17. I was like, yeah, it'd be cool to see like an album from this guy. This is cool. He's got like a cool little sound. It's kind of quirky and fun. And he just kept dropping songs like Back at It and Glow Like That and Crisis and Chaos and See Me. And with every song he would drop, he just got more boring to me. Like, he was just doing the same thing on every song. And that is my big issue with Amen. He does the same thing on every track. Every track is so formulaic and so transparent, it's kind of insane. Like, he has the same flow on literally every song. Exact same flow. The same old fucking staccato, low, deep voice, like... or some variant on that. But, like, every song he's always rapping like... It's just like, dude... Doing this on every track? Like, literally, there's not a single exception. He's on every fucking song. Always has this, like, fucking obnoxious and, to a certain point, grating, just like... I just got really sick of it by, like, track 4 or 5. I was just like, dude, we're doing this on every track. However, luckily, the production is pretty flavorful throughout the track list. Some of these beats are very just kind of shallow and generic and pretty uneventful, like on See Me or on Attention, where the beat is just kind of skeletal and not really doing anything massively interesting. So I'll hear some bass and some, like, little melodies or something, or some, like, loop, and he just kind of repeats that for, like, the whole song. I've also noticed on every track, every song, the beat switches up every 8 bars. Like, when I noticed that, I was like, Jesus. Like, literally, when I got to the song Tresspass is when it clicked. I was like, holy fuck. Every song, the beat changes up, like, in some way on every 8 bars. He'll introduce, like, a new snare, or, like, a new kick drum, or, like, a new little melody thing, or some new instrument. Like, he would do something every 8 bars, so it switch up in some way. And that formula it stays through the entire track. And it just gets predictable after a certain point. It just gets like, okay, he's doing it again with the low voice delivery. It's like the same flow. It's like, bro, can you show some range? Like, what? And every song he's talking about, like, nothing. Like, he's like, the lyrics, like, lyrically, he's really weak. Like, there were some seriously terrible lines. Like, that line on the opening track where he said, like, he's a rapper, but his name isn't Chance. Like, what? Shut the fuck. Oh, this one too was great. We have that line on Tresspass. No, sorry, on Enemies even. He's like, the way obnoxiously he's like, yeah, bitch, suck my dick. It's like, bro, can you shut? Really just obnoxious. Like the brag rap side of things, he's just doing with the same fucking voice. It's just like, dude, it's just getting annoying. Like when you do it on every track. Like the only tracks where he really massively changes up the subject matter, I guess maybe on the song Kitty or on Introvert. Oh fuck, I just received a phone call. And I was talking to him for like 7 minutes, and I've totally lost where I was a second ago. What did I just say in this review? Like, you just saw me say. Like, I was... Fuck! Like, I just took a phone call and it interrupted the review, and now I'm back recording it again. And... Fuck, what did I say? Where was I? I don't know. Anyway, let me just talk about some songs I liked. Okay, my favorite track was Cold. I love the beat on Cold. Instrumental was beautiful. Really great, progressive, lavish, gorgeous thing. Love the dreamy guitars that come in, and just the bass line too, as well, when the instrumental comes back and it gets all like super just like sun-kissed and gorgeous. Such a fucking beautiful instrumental. It's really great. I like the tracks where he really reached and did something truly like really opulent and grand, like Flight, for example, or Arizona. Flight had some really just beautiful, hazy synth melodies sprinkled throughout that sounded really pretty, and his voice I thought worked pretty nice. His singing isn't too bad. I think he obviously is a very low register in his voice, so his singing is a little bit limited. I think he comes through with some decent melodies on some tracks, like on See Me it can be okay. It's pretty catchy, it's cool. On Glow Like That, the whole like his singing, it's just a nice little compliment to his rapping. He just kind of weaves in these little melodies here and there. It can sound pretty decent at times. I do love how the album kicks off on the first track, even though there are some corny bars on this track. I do think that the speedy, ferocious start that it gives the album, I think is pretty cool. Worst track was definitely Kitty in every way. Like, it's one of those albums to where like the worst track is very obviously the worst. It's pretty clear which is the worst song. Kitty, and here's the thing with Kitty, man. So basically, Kitty is just a generic, cringy as fuck, drinking sex song where he's talking about fucking this chick who turns out to be this guy's sister, and it's just like, what the fuck? Who wants to hear this? It's just dumb, obnoxious, and corny, but the beat is really good. I like the instrumental, but for some reason I don't think he learned from J. Cole that you can't just put a good beat on a cringy sex song and it stops being a cringy sex song. So yeah, Kitty was pretty intolerable. Enemies was boring and generic and completely nondescript. I thought the messiest track was definitely Occupied. This song, the beat, like when it started and I heard the beat, I was like, okay, this beat is kind of cool. It's kind of bouncy and kind of eclectic, and like, oh, this is kind of cool. But his voice is buried like so low. Barely hear him on this track. The mixing is fucked. It's such a mess. And the beat gets so annoying like midway through because it doesn't switch up or anything. It's just like really wild, like bouncy synth melody. It's like, it just gets played like through the whole song, and like midway through it, I just get sick of it. Yeah, there's also the song Little Prince, which I think had a lot more potential than it actually, you know, gave off. Like, it didn't fully execute its potential, I don't think. Like, it sounded pretty nice, like Nicki with the I got a secret. It sounded kind of nice, and then they kind of like eerie, spacey synths and shit. It sounded pretty cool, kind of atmospheric and moody. I felt like it was just kind of cut a little bit short or something, or didn't really blossom into the directions it could have gone in. The final track, Arizona, has a pretty crazy beat switch. I do like the lyrics too. I was talking about transitioning from being a kid to a man, just springing off of his adolescence, and just like that you know, journey of growth. He sort of details in the song I thought was quite compelling. And the beat switch where that like crazy scream comes in, it's like playing, and out of nowhere it's just like and this beat switch just comes in. It's like, oh, this is cool, what the fuck. And then the ending little vocal skit, the little dialogue about the office, I thought was pretty funny. Nice little quirky way to end it off, I guess. And yeah, I mean, overall it's a fine album. Chaos was kind of shit. I didn't like Chaos. There was a terrible line where he's talking about his Johnson, like his dick, and how it's as hard, like it's hard like The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock Johnson. I was like, that's fucking terrible. And that beat is really annoying too. Well, his voice is so deep. He just turned 18. And he's just talking about nothing. Like, it's just trite lyric after trite lyric over a generic ass beat over the same flows we use in the whole album. The album gets redundant real quick. The features are pretty shit. Joji sounded terrible on Introvert, even though Introvert is one of the more colourful songs here. Like, a lot of these songs just feel like filler. They just feel like just characterless, dull filler, you know, that just don't really leave any impression. There's not really much of a character, like a distinct feel to Trespass or to Enemies or to Chaos or Occupied. It's just like, okay, like whatever. But Introvert, I think, is a beat that comes through with quite a bit of flavor. Even if the tone of the song isn't really for me, I do appreciate that this song did something a little bit different, which is sorely needed on this album because it just gets so stale pretty quick. I thought Trespass was the strongest of like the banger tracks, like the cold-blooded, like aggressive banger tracks, because the hook on that song was really good. And I thought that beat just complemented Rich Chigga's, Richard Bright. So I never mentioned in this video, I should mention, his name used to be Rich Chigga. I don't know if you knew that, but you probably did. His voice perfectly fits this instrumental. It's just such a good blend. Offset as well, his feature was god-awful. It was a terrible feature. He sucked. He completely just wasted and just phoned in his verse. Overall, yeah, a lot of corny lines, a lot of just bland instrumentals, and yeah, his rapping just gets so dull, so quick. I felt like a 5 to a 6. Yeah, overall, it was just alright. Those are my thoughts on Amen by Rich Brian. Bye!